Friends, Shabbat Shalom to everyone again. It's an honor for me to be able to share some words of Torah with you this evening. We Jews know about plagues. Our religious history speaks about the 10 plagues brought against Egypt. We know the horrors of the Black Death in the 15th century and how the Jews were massacred because they were accused of causing it. We are aware that the Jews were affected deeply by the cholera epidemic of the mid-19th century, and there's a lot of history about how the community responded to it. And of course, we, among all other members of the human race, confront COVID-19. On Monday, a nurse in New York City was among the first to receive the new Pfizer COVID-19 vaccination. The Moderna vaccine is close to release as well. And Dr. Anthony Fauci said that by April, he predicts that anyone who wants the vaccine can get it. We pray that this is so. Here is the challenge. As of now, only 61% of Americans will take it. Judaism is not just about lighting Hanukkah lights and eating jelly donuts. It addresses the fundamental ethical and social issues of our time. And here is the question that I believe that we should be confronting on this Shabbat. Does Judaism require us to take the vaccine, or is it optional to do so? A similar issue was discussed concerning requiring students in our religious schools to be vaccinated. And my comments are based on a Reformed Jewish responsa, a Reformed Jewish rabbinic document that was written in 2001, based on a detailed analysis of this topic rooted in all the rabbinic sources that have been written about this over the last 2,000 years. Vaccines are part of the imperative of pikuach nefesh, the preservation of human life, a commandment that takes precedence over virtually every other requirement that is found in the Torah. Even the rules of Shabbat and Yom Kippur are superseded in order to save life. And medicine falls under that instruction. One who refuses a treatment on the grounds that he or she prefers, for example, to observe the laws of Shabbat, is called in Jewish tradition a pious fool, a Hasid Shoteh. The refusal is not an act of piety, but is seen as suicide. We are compelled to do what the physicians prescribe. If a vaccine is accepted treatment, it follows from all that we are obligated to receive it. Our tradition does distinguish between therapies regarded as proven, what is called refuah b'dukah, which offer a reasonable certain prospect of successful treatment, and those that are experimental or untested, which offer but an uncertain therapeutic benefit. We are required by Jewish law, the authorities tell us, to accept proven remedies. Do these new COVID-19 vaccines qualify as refuah b'dukah, as a proven remedy? It has been shown that it offers 95% immunity for those who take it. And granted that no medical therapy can be entirely free of risk, do vaccines pose a level of danger that outweighs their benefits? When we examine all of the studies, and you have to trust the research and the wisdom and knowledge of those who offer opinion upon this, and this has been done by very serious scholars and researchers, this is the conclusion. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices voted last Saturday to recommend the use of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine in people 16 years old and older under the emergency use authorization issued by the United States Food and Drug Administration. The vaccine was developed quickly, but standards of testing were not compromised. And Dr. Fauci has said, as soon as my turn comes up, which likely will be very soon, I'm going to be available to get vaccinated publicly so that people can see that I feel strongly that this is something we should do. And hopefully that will encourage many more people to get vaccinated. Yes, there will be some negative reactions, but they can be managed. All of this leads to the conclusion that immunization qualifies as refuah b'duka, a medical therapy of proven effect. As such, Jewish tradition would define immunization as part of the mitzvah of healing and recognizing it as a required measure, since we are not entitled to endanger ourselves or the children for whom we are responsible by refusing proven medical treatment. There is scientific consensus, and we must follow what the overwhelming opinion is. Except for the fringes in the Orthodox Jewish community, Orthodox rabbis also are preaching the same Torah tonight. Judaism has confronted this issue before. It's not new. In the late 18th century, the smallpox vaccine came out. The renowned Rabbi Yisrael Lipschitz of Danzig responded to the question of whether it was permissible to accept the vaccine. Though effective in preventing smallpox, the vaccine does carry some mild to severe life-threatening risks. Rabbi Lipschitz responded that despite the risk of death from the vaccine, one should still get it. Here is the reasoning. He points out that one can undertake the remote danger of the smallpox vaccine to prevent the ultimate greater danger associated with the disease. In addition, all minimal risk treatments may be religiously obligatory, not just permissible, if the treatment prevents a more serious future danger. These are the words of a 19th century sage. But this is not just about you and me as individuals. Immunization is not purely a private matter, but one of social ethics. Our decision to vaccinate or not to vaccinate directly affects the lives and health of our neighbors. Since vaccines are not 100% effective, the more people who get the vaccine lowers the chance of any one of us becoming ill. This is this concept of herd immunity that people keep talking about, the level of immunity achieved when there is a sufficient level of vaccine protection in the population to prevent the spread of the disease to those who remain biologically susceptible. This is the greatest bioethical ethical dilemma of our time. It's not just relevant to us individually, but communally as well. And here is the dilemma that we will face at the New Reformed Temple, which is indicative of a larger societal dilemma. Think about it. People will continue to be vaccinated, God willing. And at some point, the pandemic will begin to decline. And we will contemplate reopening. Will we require immunization for someone entering our building to worship with others? Can someone be allowed to put others at risk by their choice not to get the vaccine? What is the standard? Do we require proof of entry? Should we exclude those who refuse to be vaccinated? From a Jewish point of view, I would say yes. The community trumps the individual. How unbelievable that in less than a year, multiple effective and safe vaccines have been created. That might be the easiest part of the challenge. We have the tools to save humankind. And if many refuse to take the vaccine, the pandemic will not end and more will die. Judaism says that none of us have a choice. We must take it for our own benefit and for the safety of society. Jewish tradition does not equivocate. Our challenge is to affirm it and to convince others. Shabbat Shalom.